So skin has several functions in the body. It maintains homeostasis. It keeps the fluid levels constant in the body. It keeps water in. Without the skin, your water would evaporate very fast from your cells. It keeps in things like electrolytes and nutrients, keeps viruses, bacteria out of your body. It protects your skin, both from injury as well as from pathogens like bacteria and viruses. Regulates body temperature. So it keeps blood in, and blood is what really makes your body stay warm. And so it keeps heat in, and also helps you cool down if you have by sweating. It prevents water loss. It's waterproof, so it keeps water in. It holds various nerves that let you know about your environment. It senses hot and cold, senses pain and pressure. Skin also makes vitamins like vitamin D. When sun hits your skin, the sunlight converts different chemicals into vitamin D. It excretes some waste. Not a lot, but there is a little bit of waste that moves out of your pores. You taking notes, Patrick?
Yep. I did.
So vitamin D deficiency, it's not a huge problem down here. Patrick, I just see you taking notes. I saw everybody else taking notes.
All right,
So-
sorry.
Okay.
I did.
I don't mean to pick on you, but I'm just, whenever I look up, I'm the only person I see not doing something is you. So I'm not saying it's only you. I'm just saying that's the only person I see. So I don't mean to pick on you, but it's just what I see. Down here, the sun's pretty intense, and so we don't have deficiency of vitamin D, but up north, it's a bigger problem. And so they usually need to take supplements to help, because vitamin D deficiency, if you have that, you're going to feel really terrible. You're going to feel really tired, depressed. Vitamin D helps with metabolism. So it's a very important mineral or nutrient that you need in your body.
So when people go crazy for not seeing the sun, it's not because the sun is the deficiency of vitamin D.
Well, it's a few things, but yeah, that's part of it. Vitamin D definitely, you're going to feel pretty bad if you don't have enough vitamin D. So that definitely contributes to it. But it's also your sleep regulation. You need to see sunlight in order to know when it's day and when it's night to regulate your circadian rhythms. Because if you don't see the sunlight, you don't know when it's daylight, when it's nighttime. Your body's confused, and you don't really know when to sleep and when to wake up. So it's important when you first wake up to go outside and see the sun. So your body knows it's time to wake up. And then at night, they say, don't see anything that has blue light in it. Don't look at your screen before bed, because your body is confused. And when it sees the blue light from the screen, it thinks it's daylight. And so melatonin stops being secreted. And melatonin is the hormone that tells you it's time to go to bed. And so when you first see sunlight in the morning, the body has an idea of how long it's going to be before it's bedtime again, and it resets itself. But if you don't ever see the sunlight, you don't reset the melatonin cycle, then your body, it doesn't know when it's nighttime, and you don't sleep well at all. And if you don't sleep, you don't feel very good. So that's more of the problem that it is, but that definitely contributes to it. Epidermis, as I mentioned, is top layer of skin. It's a very thin layer of skin. You can see up here, it's just, I can't use my mouse right now. Here it goes. So it's just this right here. It's just the purple layer and the brown layer on top. So it's made of stratified squamous epithelial tissue, very thin, flattened cells. They're mostly dead. The next layer is the dermis. You can see it's much thicker than the epidermis. This contains connective tissue. So it's cells that also have a lot of protein, collagen and elastin. Actually, let's just use this one instead. So collagen and elastin are two proteins that collagen gives your skin toughness. Elastin gives your skin flexibility. And then the basement membrane below that. So right here, this darker purple area right here is the basement membrane that connects the epidermis to the dermis. Now, if that's separated, then you can have a blister that forms and fluid rushes in that gap between the two layers of skin. So that gives you an idea of how thick the epidermis is, because this layer above the blister is your epidermis and the layer below is your dermis.
Is it good to pop that blister?
I mean, usually, yeah, I mean, usually, I mean, because it usually it's painful until you pop it.
Okay.
And so as long as you have a sterile needle, then yeah, it's usually a good idea to pop them.
Can
Good.
they get infected pretty easily?
They can, I mean, you definitely want to bandage it afterwards. You definitely want to keep it open because that can cause infection. But as long as you use a sterile needle, as long as you bandage it up, it's usually okay to pop them. Now, if it's a burn, I wouldn't recommend popping it because that's different. But for the kinds of blisters, usually popping it makes them feel better. And then below the epidermis, or below the dermis, you have the hypodermis. Subcutaneous layer is your fat layer. And that's the yellow part right here. So it's made of adipose tissue. And you can see in here, there's a lot more blood vessels in the fat layer than there are in the dermis or epidermis. The dermis has some blood vessels. Epidermis has none. So that connects the skin to the organs. The organs would be below this layer, along with muscles. It insulates. So the blood vessels that go through this layer, they help nourish the top layers of skin. Minerals and water diffuse out into these layers of skin.
Miss Holly?
Mhm.
So are muscles and organs like intertwined, or like are the muscles on top of the organs?
Yeah, there's both. I mean, so you have skeletal muscles which attach to bone, and they would be on top of the organs. They wouldn't be inside the organ. But organs themselves also can have muscles within them. Like your stomach has muscles within it to help the stomach turn. And heart as well is made of mostly muscle. So it just depends what kind of organ you're talking about. But yeah, there's both. There's organs, there's muscles outside organs that function independently, but also ones that are inside the muscle tissues.
So Miss Holly, if you broke like a bone like in your leg and it like came out of like the skin, would it have to tear through muscle?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you have muscles all over that surround all your bones, really. They're not always very thick muscles, but yeah, you have layers of muscles all throughout your body. Did you get these down? Also, it stores nutrients. It helps pad your bones, and so if you get hit, you don't get as hurt. But it's just a layer of padding that helps shock absorb and protect your organs and muscles. these down? So there's different kinds of injections. There's 4 different kinds that we'll talk about. The first kind, intradermal, would be just in your dermis layer. You can see right here, it's at a very shallow angle, about 10-degree angle. That just goes into the dermis. So there's epidermis, it's very top layer. It goes to the dermis, which is the pink layer. Well, actually, you know what? That's not even the dermis now I'm looking at it. That's actually still the epidermis right here. There's the very top layer of skin. These are used for only a few things, allergy tests. The main purpose of these TB tests, they also might do that. Rabies vaccine goes in here, but that's about it. It's not a very common injection, which is good because they're not very pleasant. I mean, you definitely, it's like a blister. And so it does hurt a lot to have it in that area. This is the longest absorption rate, because in order to absorb it into your body, you have to go into your bloodstream, and your blood vessels are mostly down your fat layer. There are some that are in the dermis, but not a lot. So it has to go from here all the way down here. And so it takes the longest amount of time for it to do that compared to, say, intravenous or subcutaneous or intramuscular. So it by far, I meant to have that on here. This is not the right notes. That's not good. Oh, well, we'll just make do with what we have today. But right down below this, it's the longest absorption time of all the different kinds of injections. It takes the longest to be absorbed.
Which one is that?
Intradermal. I wonder why I don't have the right notes on here. Where would that be? Oh.
Is there a reason why they're putting that in angle, or is that just for this way?
Yeah, it's just to get into the right layer of skin.
You can't just put it straight down.
Well, you can, but that's a different kind of injection. So if you put it straight through, that goes into your muscle. So it just depends upon where you want to put it. If you want to put it in your muscle, it goes at a 90-degree angle. If you want to put it into the dermis, you have to go at about 10-degree angle. Subcutaneous injections, usually it's done by pinching the layer of fat around your skin. And so it's at about 45-degree angle, and it goes into the fat layer right here in yellow. That's mostly used for insulin shots. And so it's a faster absorption than intradermal injections, but compared to the other 2 types of injections, it's a slow absorption rate. So it takes longer to absorb than intramuscular or intravenous, but a lot faster than intradermal injections would take. Of the different kinds of injections, it's probably the least painful. There's not as many nerves in that area. And so it's a lot more pleasant than, say, intramuscular injections. Then for the next one, intramuscular, it goes straight through at 90-degree angle. So I don't have this in my notes, but write this down. Intramuscular injections go into the muscles, and they're the most painful usually, because when your muscles are damaged, you can have cramping, you can have tearing. You usually are sore for a few days after these kinds of injections. And most shots you get are intramuscular. So this is faster absorption than the other 2 we've talked about so far. There's more blood vessels in your muscles than the fat tissue. Generally, it's in your arm. The deltoid muscle is usually where they put injections. And the last one, intravenous, that's usually an IV. It's not usually a shot. It can be, though. But it's usually just stuck right into your veins in your arm through an IV. And that gives you the fastest, by far, absorption, because it goes straight into your bloodstream. So have that written down to your notes. Intravenous injections, also called IVs. Fastest by far absorption rate, it goes right into your bloodstream.
Oh, that's what IV stands for, intravenous?
Exactly, yeah. And so usually you don't see it as a shot. I mean, it can be, but it's not usually how they do that. Usually it's through an IV bag that they give you medicine.
So when they draw blood, would it be at that angle or is that something?
Yeah, it would be, that's right. It would also be intravenous. It's just that they're taking things out, not putting things in. But yeah, it would be the same angle as intravenous. I think we'll stop here for right now. Actually, no, let me do just a little. No, yeah, we can stop here. I have things for you to do. I'll give you a few worksheets to do. I think I have some coloring sheets for you to do
Yeah.
and labeling.
Kindergarten.
Save these for the test. These will help you study. So I have 2 worksheets and also in your book, work on questions 6 through 8 on page 116, I believe. So nobody's seen my book because somebody took it and I don't have it and they're really expensive at $80 to replace. And so I don't want to buy a new one if I don't have to. So if somebody knows where it is, I really need to know because I don't want to have to replace it.
But yeah,
No,
let's say,
it's a normal book. Yeah.
Would you want one of ours?
Well, I mean, no, I don't want to take yours.
Well, I can just share with them.
No, I mean, I'll buy one if I need to. I just, if somebody knows where it is, I'd rather find it before buying a new one.
Yeah.
Or maybe one on our crossing.
And mine.
You think so? Put your lights back on. All right, so I have a labeling sheet and I have a coloring worksheet for you to do.
Do you know what homework question you
How
wanted?
good is that?
And then we finish. I just think she told me yesterday.
Well, 'cause remember we did some online because of the.
Right, and I remember you gave me yours and I saw what yours were. But I didn't see Natalie's, I don't think. Did she turn me yesterday? Let me see. So she went up to number 8.